Hello and welcome to another 5-minute level 3 video. Today we're talking about coating colour preparation. So this is the schematic for the preparation. We've got the makeup of the coating colour and the use of the coating colour. Makeup consists of 3 stages. We've got to disperse, first of all, high shear dispersion of the pigment particles, low shear mixing of all the other ingredients, and then we need to store it with gentle stirring before we move on to producing the coating. So out of storage, put it through a screen to take out any lumps that didn't disperse properly or may have formed since, and then we send it forward to the coater. So dispersing, very common disperser is a KD mill, very high shear dispersion. We need this to get high solids contents for the pigments. So it's a high shear mixer, it's essential for dispersing pigments. If you put other materials in like starch or latex, then the high shear will destroy those molecules. It will break those molecules down into much smaller molecules that then can't do the job for which they're intended. So the first stage is high shear to fully disperse the pigment. Once you've done that, the second stage is to use a much lower shear environment to mix in all the other ingredients. So that's things like the binders, the starch and the latex, and the additives, CMC or polyvinyl alcohol or zirconium compounds, optical brightening agents, deformers, antifoams. And there are different types of low shear mixers. People are doing everything to try and develop devices that have very good mixing properties. So there's tanks with baffles in to disturb the flow of the liquid. There's multiple rotor tanks, and here we've got a double use one where very high, we can use it at very high shear, where you get this very big vortex for dispersing the pigment, and then you go down into a low shear mode where it's this darker green one, and then we can blend in all the other ingredients. When we're storing them, the most important thing is not to do too much work on it. You need to stir it, you need to do enough work to stop any of the materials settling out, but not enough to damage the starch or damage the latex. Final thing to mention here is coating colour checks. How do we know that the coating colour is okay? What are the things that we need to look for, and why do we need to look for them? Well, the most important of all is the viscosity. The more viscous the coating colour is, when you apply it to the sheet and when you're taking it off, if it's too viscous, it will literally tear your sheet up. So therefore there's a limit to the maximum viscosity. So having the wrong viscosity means you can have the wrong coat weight, as well as causing sheet breaks. Then you need to be aware of the solids content. The solids content will dictate the stability of the coating, it will dictate the viscosity of the coating, and everyone wants as high solids as we possibly can, because the higher the solids, the less moisture or the less water, and therefore the cheaper it's going to be to dry. We need to check that it's fully dispersed. If the pigment is poorly dispersed, then you'll get little bits there, and if they get caught under the blade of a blade coater, then you'll get scratches all the way down your coating and you've got a wasted roll. The pH is quite important. The pH can significantly affect the coating colour viscosity, and it can also affect the drying rates of inks. And finally, the binder content. You need to have the right pigment to binder ratio. And pigment to binder ratio is different for every pigment, because remember, it's all about surfaces. So pigments that have more surface area per gram will need more binder per gram. If you have too little binder in, then the coating won't be strong enough and you'll get wet pick or dry pick problems. If you put too much binder in, then the water from the printing process can't get through the coating and you'll get other problems called things like ink refusal, or wet traps, another term for ink refusal. Or you can get gluability problems. If you've got too much binder there, the glue can't get in and key onto the surface. So, summary of coating prep. First of all, we need to disperse the pigments, then we need to mix in the other ingredients, we need to store it, and we need to check the quality of the coating. Thank you for listening to this video, and please feel free to follow us on any of this social media.